You know, life has a funny way of placing difficult people in our path. It's like they're sent from the universe to test us, to see if we've really learned the lessons we think we have. You know, it's the ones who know how to push your buttons, the ones who seem to exist solely to challenge your peace. Maybe it's a colleague who's constantly negative, a family member who's always stirring trouble, or even a friend who always expects you to carry their emotional weight. Whatever the case, they're part of the human experience, and it's a shame, really. Most people think that the world around them is the problem, that if people would just act differently, if circumstances were just a bit more favorable, they'd be fine. But let me tell you this: the world, as chaotic and troublesome as it may seem, is not the enemy. The enemy is what lies within us. And when I say that, I mean that it's not the other person who controls your emotions, it's you. Let me take you back a bit. Think of a time when you encountered a difficult person. Maybe it was a shouting match, a moment of frustration, when you found yourself completely undone. Your blood was boiling, you couldn't find the right words, and all you wanted to do was shout back. But here's the kicker: nothing really changes when you do that. You may win the battle, but you lose the war. You let someone else's energy dictate yours. Now I know you're thinking, but what if they're wrong? What if they're being unfair or unreasonable? And trust me, I get it. Sometimes they are wrong. But here's the truth: you can't control how other people behave, but you sure as heck can control how you respond. And let me tell you, that's where your true power lies. So, what's the secret? How do we deal with these difficult people? Well, let me tell you. It's not about confrontation. It's not about shouting them down or proving them wrong. In fact, that's the most unstoic thing you could do. We'll get into that. First, let me share something that the ancient philosophers, particularly the Stoics, were so good at understanding. Human behavior is not random. It's a product of the person's inner world. Think of it like this: a difficult person is often reflecting something in you. I know that might sound a bit strange, but stay with me. When someone acts in a way that disturbs your peace, ask yourself why that's triggering you. Why does it bother you so much? Does it stir up some unresolved issue, some fear, or some insecurity? When you get upset by someone else's behavior, it's usually because that behavior is reflecting something within you that you haven't addressed yet. The Stoics would call that the passions. And they believed that we must understand and control our passions if we are to live a virtuous life. Imagine, just for a second, you're driving on the highway and someone cuts you off. The natural reaction is to feel angry, right? You might even want to honk the horn, shout, or tailgate. But take a step back. Ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? The person who cut you off is not in control of your emotions. You are. It's not the driver's fault that you're angry, it's your own inability to remain calm in a situation that doesn't deserve your anger. The Stoics would say, focus on what is within your control. Let's take another step into the practical side. When you encounter a difficult person, instead of matching their energy, try to do something completely different. Be calm. Be composed. Breathe. Imagine if every time someone got under your skin, you took a moment to pause, a moment to breathe, a moment to decide how you will react. You may not be able to change their behavior, but you can certainly change how you respond to it. The Stoics believed in practicing mindfulness before reacting. They called it premeditation, thinking before you act. Now, let's break this down a bit further. Let's say you're dealing with a colleague, someone who's always negative and always brings up problems without offering solutions. You could easily become frustrated, right? Maybe you find yourself rolling your eyes every time they speak, or you start to feel resentment building up. But I want you to think about this. You're allowing their negativity to affect you. They're affecting your mood, your productivity, and your peace. Is that fair to you? Is it worth it? What would a Stoic do in this situation? They'd ask themselves, can I control my colleague's behavior? Of course not. Can I control my reaction to their negativity? Absolutely. They would approach this person with a sense of calm, acknowledging the negativity without taking it personally. They would listen, not react, and calmly move the conversation toward a solution. In fact, a Stoic would likely feel empathy for this person. Negative people are often unhappy themselves, projecting their unhappiness onto others. Instead of responding with frustration or anger, a Stoic would respond with understanding. It's not just about avoiding conflict. It's about learning to maintain your internal peace no matter what's happening around you. The ancient Stoics understood that the only thing you truly have control over is your own mind. Everything else is outside your influence. It's like trying to hold on to the wind. You can't control the wind, but you can control how you respond to it. That's what the Stoics called inner tranquility. But let me offer you something else to think about. In Stoic philosophy, there's a concept called amor fati. It's the love of fate. It means that we don't just accept what happens to us. We embrace it. If something challenging happens, we don't resist it. Instead, we lean into it. We take it as an opportunity to grow. When you're faced with a difficult person, don't see them as a problem. See them as an opportunity to practice your Stoic virtues: patience, understanding, and self-control. Here's another practical tool. Take a step back and ask yourself, what is this person trying to teach me? I know it sounds like a tall order, especially when someone is making your blood boil, but hear me out. Every encounter, every interaction is a chance to learn. When someone is rude, defensive, or unkind, ask yourself what this reveals about you. What's being triggered within you? What can you learn from this moment? Maybe you need to work on your patience. Maybe you need to let go of your desire to control things that are out of your hands. Maybe you need to become more empathetic. You see, the Stoics didn't avoid difficult people, they embraced them. They saw them as a way to practice the virtues they held dear. When you approach a difficult person, try to ask yourself, how can I be the best version of myself right now? You don't need to win the argument. You don't need to be right. You don't need to change the other person. You just need to focus on your response. And this, my friends, is where the real power lies. It's not in trying to change the world, it's in changing yourself. You can't control the behavior of others, but you can control your own. And when you do that, you unlock a new level of personal freedom. So, the next time you encounter someone difficult, take a deep breath. Step into your power. Pause before reacting. Reflect on what's happening within you and why it's affecting you. Ask yourself what you can learn from the situation, and most importantly, choose how you will respond. Now, let's dive deeper into how we can turn these difficult moments into real opportunities for growth. Imagine for a moment a difficult person in your life. Maybe it's that coworker who constantly interrupts you during meetings. Or perhaps it's that friend who never follows through on promises. I know, it's easy to feel like the world is against you when people behave this way. But take a moment and think, what if, instead of reacting with frustration, you saw this person as an opportunity for self-mastery? What if you saw them as a tool to sharpen your own virtues? You see, the Stoics believed in using everything, every experience, every interaction, as a way to develop yourself. Difficult people are no different. They are like the weights in a gym. When you pick them up and lift them, they make you stronger. The more you practice patience, understanding, and composure with people who challenge you, the more you strengthen your ability to remain at peace, no matter what happens around you. But this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. This is something you can put into practice right now, today. Let's look at how. The first thing you need to do when dealing with a difficult person is to stay grounded in yourself. Sounds simple, right? But when someone is pushing your buttons, it can feel like you're being pulled in every direction. Here's where the Stoics really shine. They practice something called self-reflection. Before you react to the difficult person, take a second to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What is going on inside me that's making me feel this way? The Stoics would advise that you not let your emotions take the lead. They understood that our emotions are often misleading, and that a moment of stillness could reveal the deeper truths we need to understand. For example, let's say you're dealing with a difficult boss, someone who micromanages and seems to challenge your every decision. Instead of getting defensive, take a step back. Ask yourself, what's really bothering me about this situation? Maybe you feel undervalued. Maybe you're worried that their criticism reflects poorly on your abilities. But now, here's the key question. Why is their opinion of me affecting my sense of self-worth? The Stoics would say that the only thing you can control is your own behavior, not their judgment of you. When you can internalize that, the opinions of others lose their power over you. Once you've reflected, the next step is to practice the Stoic virtue of apatheia, which doesn't mean apathy, by the way. It means having a calm, rational mind that isn't easily disturbed by outside forces. In simple terms, it's learning not to let other people's emotional chaos drag you into their storm. It's about creating a boundary, an emotional shield, so that no one else can invade your peace. I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. But with practice, it becomes easier. The more you practice stepping back from emotional reactions, the easier it will become to stay calm in the face of anger, frustration, or conflict. It's like training a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. Now, let's talk about a strategy that many of the Stoics used when they faced difficult people: turning the other cheek. This doesn't mean you're weak. It means that you choose not to engage in petty arguments or power struggles. Instead, you rise above it. You decide not to let the negativity of others dictate your mood or actions. Imagine this. When someone insults you, instead of getting defensive, you simply reply with kindness or even silence. They may be expecting a fight, but when you refuse to engage, you take away their power. They can't control you if you don't let them. Now, before you think, but that sounds like I'm letting them walk all over me, let me remind you of the Stoic idea of virtue over victory. Stoics didn't value winning arguments or proving others wrong. They valued being virtuous in all situations, even when others weren't. They believed that being right didn't make you wise. Acting with wisdom, regardless of being right or wrong, was what truly mattered. When you act with wisdom, others begin to respect your calm, your restraint, and your ability to rise above the situation. I know this might sound a bit difficult, but let's make it real. Think about someone who's always gossiping or spreading negativity. If you respond in kind, you get pulled into the same cycle of gossip and negativity. But if instead, you calmly change the subject, or better yet, refuse to engage, you are practicing the Stoic virtue of justice, acting in a way that is fair to yourself and others. You're choosing peace over conflict, virtue over pettiness. The Stoics would also advise us to remember impermanence, that nothing lasts forever, not even difficult people. Everything in life, including relationships, moments, and challenges, is transient. When you encounter someone difficult, remind yourself that this moment too shall pass. They won't always be around, and even if they are, their words or behavior will not define your peace unless you allow them to. But what if you don't just want to deal with difficult people? What if you want to transform the relationship? This is where things get interesting. The Stoics believed in something called sympatheia, the interconnectedness of all people. It's the idea that, in some way, we're all part of the same human fabric. When you can look at the difficult person not as an enemy, but as a fellow human being, struggling with their own issues, you begin to see them differently. Instead of reacting with frustration, you begin to approach them with compassion. You realize that their behavior, though difficult, is often a reflection of their own pain, insecurity, or struggles. Think of someone who always interrupts you in conversations. Instead of seeing them as rude or inconsiderate, try to see them as someone who might be insecure, seeking attention or validation. Instead of reacting with irritation, try responding with patience and understanding. By doing this, you not only transform your own perspective, but you also begin to create a space for positive change in the relationship. You may not change them, but you can certainly change the dynamic. Now, I know it's easy to say, be calm, be patient, be compassionate, but I get it. It's much harder to do in practice. The good news is that with Stoic practice, you can start small. Begin by taking a deep breath before you react. Practice mindfulness, even for just a few seconds. Use those moments to center yourself, to choose your response. Eventually, this practice will become second nature. And here's the thing. When you stop reacting emotionally, when you choose to remain calm and composed, you regain your freedom. You no longer allow other people to control your emotional state. You can live your life on your own terms. You can engage with others without being dragged into their drama or negativity. You become the master of your own emotional world. So, let's recap. When faced with difficult people, instead of reacting, reflect. Instead of engaging, step back. Instead of fighting, rise above. You may not be able to change the difficult person, but you can certainly change how you respond. You can choose peace, patience, and virtue in the face of adversity. Now, if this resonated with you, I encourage you to like this video, share it with someone who could use a little more peace in their life, and subscribe for more practical Stoic wisdom. Remember, the next time you encounter a difficult person, don't let their energy disrupt yours. Stay calm, stay wise, and rise above. Take care, and keep practicing Stoic wisdom in your daily life. You've got this.